All right, let's talk about one of the most frustrating feelings, maybe ever. You know that gap between putting in a ton of effort, just grinding away, and then getting a really disappointing result? Yeah, that. We call it the hard work paradox, and in this explainer, we're going to show you exactly how to solve it for good.
I mean, really think about it. Have you ever had that sinking feeling in your stomach? You get your feedback and the comment is just, you completely missed the point of the assignment. Ugh, you worked so hard, right? So what on earth went wrong? Look, this experience is super common, and let me tell you, it's almost never about a lack of effort.
Okay, so to see exactly how this plays out, let's walk through a quick story. Let's talk about Chris. Now, Chris is a really diligent student, and she was determined to absolutely ace her big statistics midterm. And Chris did everything you're supposed to do, right? She reviewed every single chapter, she worked through every last practice problem, she even memorized the solutions. I mean, heading into that exam, she felt totally confident, completely prepared, ready for anything. But then the exam started, and panic. The multiple choice questions, they weren't about just recalling facts. No, they asked her to choose the right statistical test for a whole research problem. And the word problems were even worse. We're talking complex, real-world scenarios that looked nothing like the simple textbook examples. And that's when the panic set in. So the result? All of that hard work? It led to a really poor grade. Chris was just left confused, totally demoralized. I mean, how could she have studied that much and still failed? So here's the thing. Chris's problem wasn't a lack of effort. It wasn't about her intelligence. It was a fundamental disconnect. And it actually has a name. So let's diagnose what really happened here.
The crucial concept here is something called task understanding. Think of it like this. It's the internal interpretation, the mental model you build about the work you're being asked to do. It goes way beyond just reading the instructions. It's about constructing a deep, personal understanding of the real task.
Okay, so do any of these sound familiar? I mean, these are the classic symptoms. You find yourself just jumping into work without any real plan, or you get totally blindsided by a bad grade you did not see coming, or maybe you just end up blaming your own ability when things go wrong. If any of that rings a bell, that's a huge sign your task understanding might be incomplete.
But here's the good news. We can totally fix this. The solution is to start thinking of every task, not as just a flat set of instructions, but as like a three-layered map that's going to guide you to the right destination. So here's how that map is built. Every single task you get contains these three different types of information. The thing is, most of us only ever focus on the first one, but the real key to success? It's in decoding all three. Okay, first up is the explicit information. This is all the obvious stuff, right? The instructions, the deadline, the page limit, the required formatting. Chris knew all of this. She knew exactly which chapters were covered and the format of the exam. And this is where most people stop. All right, now we get to the next layer. And this is where it gets interesting. We're talking about implicit information. This is all about reading between the lines. It's asking, why am I even doing this task? How does this connect to the bigger ideas in the course? What skills am I really supposed to be showing off here? This is the layer that Chris completely missed. And that brings us to the final and honestly the most sophisticated layer, socio-contextual information. This is the real big picture. It's about asking questions like, how does a professional in this field, a real statistician for Chris, actually think and work? And what does this specific professor value most? Is it creativity? Is it pinpoint accuracy? Understanding this context, it is an absolute game changer. So how do you actually uncover all these hidden layers? Well, you need the right tools, and that's what we're going to give you right now. A set of questions to turn you into a master task analyst. Okay, for that first explicit layer, just start with the basics. Before you do anything else, ask yourself, what exactly is my job here? What do I need to produce at the end of this? Do I understand every single word in these instructions? And what resources have I been told to use? You got to get these fundamentals down cold. Okay, next up, you've got to dig deeper for that implicit information. This is where you really get to the why. Ask yourself, what is the real purpose of this task? How does this connect to what we learned last week? If I look at the syllabus, what learning objective is this tied to? And what skills am I really supposed to be demonstrating here? And finally, for that socio-contextual layer, it's time to zoom all the way out. Try to think like a professional in this field. Analyze your instructor. What do they seem to value the most in class discussions or in their feedback? And you have to be honest with yourself here.
Are my own beliefs or my past experiences kind of clouding my judgment about what this task is really about?
So let's put it all together. Just look at the difference. Chris's approach? She focused only on the explicit details. She memorized isolated solutions. She just assumed the exam was about recall. A task analyst's approach? They ask about the why, the purpose. They connect concepts across the entire course. They consider what a professional statistician actually does. They don't just see the instructions, they see the whole landscape.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like a lot of extra work. And you're not wrong. It is a little more upfront, but the payoff is absolutely enormous. And listen, this isn't just some nice theory. It's backed by solid research.
Let's just look at the data for a second. Study after study shows that your accuracy in understanding the implicit why is a massive predictor of your academic performance. And being tuned into what your instructor values, that's not just some helpful tip, it's literally part of the task. And here's the best part. Students who actually do this stuff report way less stress and a lot more motivation.
And look, this isn't just about numbers. It's about real student experiences. This quote, it captures that aha moment perfectly. This student realized that their whole idea of what analytical meant was totally different from their professor's idea. And that one little shift in understanding, it changed everything.
So if there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. Hard work is almost never the problem. Misdirected work is the problem. And the most critical step you can take to get better results, to save time, to lower your stress, is the one you take before you even start. So, here's your challenge. Sometime this week, I want you to look at your to-do list. Pick one thing. It could be a reading, a big assignment, even just studying for a quiz. And before you dive in, just pause. Apply this 3-layer analysis. Ask the questions we talked about. Because the goal, remember, isn't just to work harder, it's to work right.